And with it being Friday, I said, hey, why not do it today? So here you have it. Back at the shop on the Friday after work, getting ready to continue putting in work. Yeah, it's been a lot of action going on up here. We've been going hard on the 63, the red one, trying to get that car situated. Where I last left you guys, I think it was the video where I did a flow coat on the car and got it all nice and shiny. But I'm not spraying in the booth, so these things never really come out perfect. So I'm at the stage right now where doing some wet sanding and believe it or not, some buffing. Even though I had a bunch of issues with the buffer, messed up the paint, had to repaint all types of stuff. I'm back on it and using the buffer today. So what I'm gonna do is continue to work on the car, but I'm gonna bring you guys along with me, right? So I'll set you up on the stand and hopefully you can see me. I'm working on the passenger or the right side of the car, wet sanding and buffing, basically. Trying to get rid of some of the imperfections that happen, clearing as you could expect would happen in a shop when it's not in a booth. It's just open air, there's dust, there's dirt, there's debris, and the fact that I'm a novice too, so it didn't come out perfect. But anyway, the buffing so far is going well. So I just want to set you guys up on the stand and show you some of that. But I figure let me show you guys the backyard too. As you can see by the trees blowing in the clouds, it's not the best weather today. It's actually supposed to be raining later this evening. Hey, what's up, baby? Thanks for joining. Yeah, so the weather's not the greatest. Trees are blowing like crazy. Wind and rain is in the forecast. We got the roof material blowing around up top, etc. But yeah, so let's jump right on in. So here's the car. Um, I'm working on this side. I'm doing some wet sanding and buffing in this area. Let me shine a little bit of light to hopefully show you guys a little bit more. So you can see some spots that still need to be sanded out. And as we progress further down the panel, this part has already been sanded and buffed at least once. There's a gouge right there that is just gonna be there. It's something I missed in the body work. I should have hit that with glazing putty. But anyway, so I'm buffing on the car. I have several spots I plan to do. The entire roof I'm gonna try to buff, because as you can see, I had some issues there with clear coat. We got some dry spray right there. That's where the clear didn't really flow too well, or I was a little too far from the panel, and it gets that kind of hazy look. But it's enough clear on there to where, hey, I can sand that down and buff it, and it's going to shine right up. I got another spot like that. I don't know, you guys probably can't really pick it up too good, but on this back panel right here, I got a spot like that, so I'm planning to sand and buff that. Honestly, the bulk of the car I may end up buffing and sanding, or I'm saying it backwards, sanding and buffing. I also need to do the hood just because it got some trash in it that I'm not happy with. I mean, everything is shining up nice, as you guys can see. There's a nice luster on the car. But if you were here with me, you would see some little imperfections where trash got in the paint, or a little bit of orange peel, or a slight fish eye here and there. So, and not to mention, I got one spot here where I got some runs. See that? That'll all come out with sanding and buffing. So just want to take care of that, put best foot forward, and have the car looking good. Says Hayden Brown, put some shampoo on those black tires and spinach. Yeah, man, we're gonna get to that point eventually. I'm trying to make it look good right now, and then we'll for sure get it out on the road and do something with it. Star, lots of doing having that car, wouldn't go in there without interior clean. Yeah, okay, Star Smooth. I don't know what you're talking about, but yeah, the car is a work in progress. It'll be clean. You guys keep it clean in the chat too. We won't hesitate to block you, all right? So, yeah, chill out. As a matter of fact, you're out of here, buddy. Yeah, go talk that crap on somebody else's channel. Anyway, trolls, you're good for business too, but today I'm in a blocking mood. But anyway, with that said, I'm gonna get back to wet sanding, AKA blocking. So let me flip you guys around, throw you on the stand, and let me just step back to see what kind of view you got. Not the best. Let me see, where am I working at? I put you guys about right there. All right, so I'm gonna get to work here. I'm using a small block, as you can see here. Small forgiving block, you know, because we're doing wet sand and you don't want anything too rigid. This is a foam block and it's got some give to it. Using 1500 grit sandpaper, Dura Gold, some good stuff. And I'm just gonna continue to work in this area that I showed you guys earlier. I already was working it right along here. You see it's a little bit dull already. So I'm just gonna grab the block, my trusty squirt bottle, clean that paper off because it had a little crap on it already, and get the sanding. And keep an eye on it as I do that, and wipe here and there. And then we're gonna get the buffing. And when we get to buffing, we're gonna be using the CSI compound. Earlier, if you were watching some streams earlier, I was using CSI, but the older formula, apparently they have another formula here, the XX, the double X. So I'm gonna be using this. So far, I've already used some of it on the car and it's done well. So I'm gonna keep doing that. One quick reminder for you guys who are jumping in the stream, make sure you smash that like button on your way in. It helps the channel, you know, so appreciate anything you could do to help us gain momentum and visibility in the algorithm. But without further ado, I'm gonna get to work because my time is limited. We'll see how long we run the stream. But yeah, let's get it. Just sanding on the panel lightly, not too much pressure. You don't want to stay in one spot too long. All right, just move around, hit the entire area that you're trying to work in. Kind of on a crisscross pattern. After a while, you start to see it foam up and get kind of white. That's actually the clear. What you don't want to see is it start to turn red. That means you went way too far and now you cut into the paint and now you got a problem. So one thing when you're doing this, at least that I've learned in my experience, is stop. Don't do a whole bunch all at once. Take little breaks here and there, wipe it off with a microfiber cloth or whatever, you know, whatever you got, man. I've even used paper towels if I had to. Wipe it off, let it dry, and take a look at it. Once it dries, you can kind of see if there's some areas you missed or you need to go over something or whatnot. But what you don't want to do is break through the clear and hit the paint, because now you're kind of in a bad spot. You got to fix that. You can't just leave it exposed, or you're gonna have issues. So, yeah. That's it. I mean, I just started, so I'm gonna sand on it a little bit more before I wipe. Yeah, it's kind of a slow, tedious process, but that's just how it goes, you know. Yo, what's up, Shiver Me Timbers? Yeah, you want to take it slow, you know, and slow, tedious process. But if you try to rush it and go fast, you're going to have issues. You're going to make mistakes. I could have used the DA sander, but that's taking a big risk too, because when you're dealing with the air, you know, you could easily sand away that clear and break through to the paint and put yourself in a bad spot. So don't want to do that. Trying to avoid that at all costs. So working slow here. I'm trying to find my microfiber. Yeah, when you're doing this, it'd be good if you had some fresh microfiber cloths too. I'm working with some that I bought for this project, but as you can see, they're kind of dirty now, but it's what I got, so that's what I'm working with. All right, so we wipe it, walk away from it for a minute, let it start to dry out, and then we have a better idea what's going on. Because let me show you guys once again, or try to. As you can see, the area, it's kind of got that matte look to it. That's what you want. But if you look, you can still see little shiny spots. It almost looks like glitter. I mean, this area is still trying to dry off, but you want the whole thing to kind of have that matte finish. A lot of those little shiny spots are fish eyes or whatever. Hey, how you doing, Latoya? Thanks for joining. But yeah, a lot of those little shiny spots are fish eyes or imperfection spots where trash got into the paint. So you don't want any of that when you're going to buff it. You want it all to have a nice, even, matte finish. Like I said, I've already done that on this back half, and I've buffed it lightly. And this area, I'm just taking it all the way through so we have a nice, even finish. Because I was actually trying to take a shortcut and skip this piece right here, but what ended up happening is once I did this section and buffed it, it looked so much nicer than this spot. Then this spot used to look way better than that spot. So it's like, I couldn't leave it uneven, so I have to go ahead and just do the whole quarter panel, and it's gonna end up with a better luster anyway. So we'll be doing that. And then, like I said, the roof, I'm kind of dreading that because it's a big area, it's a lot of sanding. And with the roof, I may go ahead and use the DA sander to try to get it done a lot quicker. And when I say the DA sander, for those of you who may not know, it's this bad boy right here. If I do opt to use this, I'm gonna use a less aggressive grit of sandpaper. Like when I'm blocking it by hand here, I'm using the 1500. If I use the DA, I'm gonna use minimum 2000 grit. That way it's a finer sandpaper and you're removing less material, so you have less of a chance to create a problem, right? Like I said, you don't wanna break through to the paint and then be in a bad situation. So, what happened with the roof is, full disclosure, I had flow coated the whole car and it was looking absolutely great. But I think I told you guys I had a couple of runs on this other side here. They were down low. I had a pretty big run down here in this area, and somewhere back here, pretty big run or sag in the paint. But everything else was looking real good, right? I said, man, I can't leave that run. So I went ahead, sanded that all out. And like I was telling you guys how you have to be careful not to break through, I ended up breaking through the clear and to the base coat there. So I was like, oh no, now I got to re-clear at a minimum this bottom section of the quarter. So, okay, no problem. I mixed up the clear coat, but I mixed up a lot more than I really needed, right? So after I sprayed that and fixed that area, I said, what the hell, let me just spray the rest of the quarter panel. So I sprayed the quarter panel, and I messed up and created now the runs that I have right here, right? I don't know if you can see it from that angle, right here. So I created those runs, and I'm like, oh, damn, I messed up. I shouldn't have did that, but I still kept going because I had more clear. So I just said, what the hell? I shot the whole side of the car, and I shot the roof again, too. And I should have never did that. When I did that, I created some spots there where I missed a spot or two, and it got that dry patch. Same back here on the other side. There's kind of a dry patch. And I can't remember. And I had some massive runs on both this fender and this door. Because with the flow coat, you put a little bit of reducer in there, and it tends to to become very, very extra fluid, right? So it's easy to create a run, is what I'm trying to say. So I jacked all that up. I just finished fixing it. So I got it back to where it needs to be. But, you know, now I have to just continue on and do the wet sand and buff. Because although the flow coat came out pretty good, it's not perfect. And like I said, because of my mistakes, I created some other issues. And I'm low on materials, so my first mind told me, hey, just sand it back down and flow coat it again. The roof, that is. But, you know, I'm not trying to do all that right now. It's got enough clear on there where I can just sand it down and buff it, and it's still going to shine real good. If I would have showed you guys this quarter, where it started to where it is right now, then you would understand. But anyway, enough talking. Let me get back to sanding on this quarter, and then we'll eventually buff, you know. But on your way in, hit the like button if you didn't already. Would appreciate it. Hit the two-step on that, baby. That's right, Nick. We're doing what we can, you know. Taking it one step at a time and just learning as we go. So grab the block, get back to wet sanding on the car. Oh, what do I do with the little squirt bottle? I'm tired too, you know. This is another one of those days where I'm not really feeling it, but you know, if I don't do it, who's gonna do it? I don't have anybody here doing it for me. You know, I don't have any money to pay anybody to do it. And I have a shop and I have a little bit of skill, so I have to do it. So even though I'm not feeling like it, if I don't do it, the car's just gonna sit here and languish. So I gotta grind it out. So that's what I'm doing. Actually, it's looking pretty decent already, but I'm gonna sand on it a little bit more, and then we'll hit it with the buffer, and you'll get a chance to see it go from that dull matte finish to a nice luster. And if I didn't tell you guys too, the weather has started to change here. It's not so good right now. Temperature is dropping, and it's gonna rain, so it'll be hella wet in here, etc. Matter of fact, overnight the car is probably gonna get rained on, so I'm just doing what I can. I'm gonna sand as much as I can today, and we'll continue tomorrow. Not sure if I'm gonna go live tomorrow, but I just might. Why not? I'm doing it anyway, right? So I might just stick to the phone right there and just stream it all. Usually Fridays work out good for me, but so far it's looking like today is a slow day for me. And that's how it goes, you know, but I'm not gonna trip off of it. People can catch the replay. I want to listen to some music right now, but that would not be good. That would not be good. All right. To be honest, that might be good enough right there. It's another one of those spots where you stop, wipe it off, let it dry. Just play it safe. Because if you burn through that clear, you just made a bunch of extra work for yourself. You don't want to do that. Hey, what's up, Jenny? Thanks for stopping by. I'm wiping more than just that spot because, you know, when you spray it, it's running all down the side of the car. I'm trying to keep the car as clean as possible. Because to be honest with you guys, like the lower portion of the quarter, I'm not sure if I'm gonna wet sand and buff that area because it looks pretty good and it's down low. It's more so what's gonna be right in your face. I want that surface to look real good. So that's what I'm focusing on, you know. Appreciate the support. Appreciate the support. I need to stop by your channel too. I just been mad busy between work and trying to get this car situated. So honestly, I haven't been stopping by many people's channels at all, but you know, no love. Man, come on. That's funny. That's funny, but hey, take that somewhere else. Yeah. Moderators, keep an eye out. It looks like trolls are on the loose today. So you see any random trolls pop up, you know what to do. Oh, and another thing too, I might as well mention it now. I removed a lot of moderators because honestly, the size of my channel and the type of channel I have, we don't need 100 moderators. Everybody doesn't need a jacket or, you know, whatever some people call it. Everybody doesn't need that. So we're just gonna do it this way, okay? No love lost. We're still all good. It's cool with everybody, but I don't need 100 mods. As you can see, you know, the stream is kind of slow too, but for whatever reason, we got some trolls today. I might leave them as long as they don't say anything too crazy. Leave them. It's good for business. But okay, so let's see. Yeah, I think that sanded out pretty good. That sanded out pretty good. I don't know if you guys can see it from where you're at. And you know what? I'm not gonna keep stopping and showing you guys every step of the way, but what the hell? Let me show you real quick. Then you'll be able to see the difference when we buff it. So as you can see, it's mostly smoothed out. There's still a couple little shiny glitter looking spots, but you don't have to try to get it absolutely perfect, right? If it's a show car, maybe a different story. But for what we're trying to do, that's good enough, you know, because ultimately you're trying to shine it up anyway. So those little shiny spots won't really jump out as long as they're like a pinhead size. But if it's like a patch of it, for sure, you need to keep sanding and fix that. So, yeah, thanks. Yeah, you can't go wrong with red. Honestly, it's not my favorite color, but you know what? This is my son's favorite color. So that's what kind of drove me to keep it this color. I have at least 3 blue cars. Blue is my favorite color. Actually, I got 4 blue cars, to be completely honest. So, hey, there's nothing wrong with having 1 red. But okay, so anyway, I don't want to digress. I just want to show you guys what it looks like right now. And we're going to buff it now. So, going to be using the buffer. I have a blue soft pad on there. I really need another one because this one is kind of beat up. And I'm using the CSI polishing compound. And I'm using it very sparingly, okay? You don't need a whole lot of this compound. And I kind of learned that from my last time around. I ended up getting compound every damn where, all over everything. Because I was using too much. And the main reason I was using too much is I kind of was trying to sand out 800 grit scratch marks or sanding marks. You want to at least be trying to sand out 1,500, 2,000, 3,000. The finer the grit, the less you'll have to work, or you won't have to work as hard to shine it up. Hopefully that helps somebody out there, but let me shut up now and get to work. Oh, man. For those of you who are still here, thank you. I appreciate you. And for those who are just jumping in with just sanding and polishing. All right, so I got the buffer and I got the speed turned way down because having it high can cause you major issues, as I've already learned. And you don't need a whole lot of compound. That's enough for the little area we're working in, and we'll use about that much 2 or 3 times. Maybe less, but it's kind of a small area. And actually, I think I'm gonna open the door because I don't want to slide into the door with the buffer, and I don't want to get compound and crap all over the door if I don't have to. So, like this. All right, so that's just really like one pass with the buffer, and you can already probably start to see it's shining up, right? So I'll just show you guys real quick. I mean, I still got work to do, and I still got to wipe it off, etc. But you can start to see it's starting to shine up already. So all I really need to do is repeat that process a few times, and to be very careful around the edges, yeah, and this body line here, as if, and you got to kind of keep moving with the buffer, because even though it's spinning at a low RPM, right, that's like creating a lot of friction. I'm working directly on the panel. The paint is still kind of fresh, so you have to be very, very cautious. You can really jack it up and put yourself in a bad, bad situation. Which, if you've been following this build, that's already happened to me more than once. But I think we're finally over that hump, and we're starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. So, you know, that's why I'm not now. I'm over it now. I'm not gonna be scared of buffing the car. We gotta buff it to make it right. So just learned from it. I used a few different pads that I probably shouldn't have the first time around, but it's starting to shine up nicely. And I don't know. I'm trying to debate what panel I'm gonna do next. I think I'm gonna do the roof after I finish this quarter, because the roof definitely needs this attention, as you can already see right there, that dry spray, blah blah blah. So I gotta tighten that up. But yeah, let me keep buffing on this quarter and stop talking you guys to death. Yeah, I'm gonna run the stream for a while today. Uh, I don't know if that's the best spot, man. Yeah, that's about where I'm working. So I'm gonna grab some more polish. Plug for CSI. It's the good stuff. As you can see, it didn't take a whole lot of effort there, right, with the buffer, and we already started to get a shine. So you'll see once I do that a couple more times, it's gonna make a world of difference. And I'm gonna be much happier too. As before, although it looked good, if you ran your hand over the panel, you could feel the texture. There's like little, just, I don't know what to call it, but just little trash is the way I would say in the paint that needed to come out. Yes, for sure, learning process. Thank you. I'm learning, and hopefully some people are learning with me. Maybe you want to try this on your own one day. And there's no reason why you couldn't. You just got to have a little heart and, a drive to try. All right. that's starting to shine up nicely. So, you know, you got to keep in mind too, it's generating heat. So although I kind of, my first mind is like, keep going, you know, you start to see it shining up. You got to take breaks here and there and let that panel cool off a little bit, step back, look at it, see if anything went wrong or if you're missing anything. But I don't know if you guys noticed, I'm trying to be careful and stay away from the edges and try not to let that pad dry out too much too, because it could then gouge your paint and ruin the whole process. You don't want that. Definitely don't want that. I still got some haziness from the polish though. Here and there we stop, wipe it off. Step back and look at it. And it is kind of messy, you know, it's throwing compound all over the place. That's just part of the process. But I try to just wipe it off afterwards, because if you leave that compound sitting on the car, it can dry up and become harder and harder to get off, you know. And it's starting to look pretty good, man. It really is. If this quarter didn't have that little gouge in it, it'd be pretty good. Somewhere else on this quarter too, I think there's like a little ding that I didn't see when I was doing the body work. But that's how it happens when you're doing body work sometimes, when the car is not all nice and shined up. And you're feeling it with your hand, but you can miss a spot, man. You really can. So it's good to maybe wet the car down with some water, and that'll help you to have any dings and stuff like that to be more visible. But I was moving a little bit fast, and overall, the top of the panel looked good, so my body work focus was on the lower portions. But, you know, whatever. Like I said, it's no big deal. It's not like a big dent. It's a tiny little ding. But I don't know. Can you guys see that? Clearly, you got to be able to see at least a shining compared to what it used to look like. But I'm going to go over it again. I'm going to just take a small intermission. I'm going to leave the stream running, but I'll be right back. When I come back, I'm going to throw a little more compound on the polisher and go over it once again. I like to do a minimum at least 3 passes and then step back and reevaluate, you know, what I need to do next. But honestly, after 2 passes, it's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty good. And it looks a lot better than it did before, you know. So we'll see. So depending on how that goes, we might tackle this area. I'm a little bit nervous to do it because there's some complex angles, and you know, it would be easy for something to go wrong there, and I would hate for that to happen on live. But hey, you know, we might as well try. So let me go take the small intermission, and I'll come back. We'll hit the quarter again, and then we'll start on the roof. had to grab a cold beverage, and today that beverage is water. Yo, what's up, Ninja? Thanks for joining. Brother, oh, what's up, brothers? Okay, what's happening, bro? How's the Brougham treating you, man? I miss that car, man. I really do. That's one of the ones I wish I didn't sell. But thanks for joining the stream, man. It's a small world. Glad you're here. And for all the people jumping on, hit the like button. Show me some love. Yeah, so I'm gonna get back to my wet sanding and buffing. I'm not sanding right now, I'm buffing, but I will be wet sanding on this roof area. So yeah, let me grab the buffer. And man, as you can see, this pad has seen better days. It's like they call it a waffle pad, but it's all chewed up. I went hard with it before I knew what I was doing. But I need to buy another one. That's a mental note for me. I need to get on Amazon. I don't know if there's any chance for me to get one overnight. Maybe if I'm lucky, I can get one on Sunday or something to have it for Monday. Oh man, just a little bit of compound. We don't need too much. That's probably too much. But see, just a little bit, and we're using the good stuff. The good stuff, this CSI compound, the double X. Before I was using their regular formula, which is still good, but this was the latest and greatest, so I tried it. It's a little bit less than $60 a quart, so it's expensive, but it does the job. Like what I'm doing here, buffing on this car, normally if you're using like some other products, the high-end stuff, you usually have to use like 2 or 3 different bottles of stuff to get the same kind of result. So this is like an all-in-one, and it works good. That's what's up, man. I'm glad to hear that you're working on that car and you're enjoying it. So I'm glad it went to a good home, man, and you're putting some work into it. It's a nice car. It's a good start for you. So I'm happy to hear that. I know you had some other cars too, but I'm glad you're working on that one. All right, let me jump back on this buffing. Clock is ticking. I'm looking at it. Before you know it, I'm gonna have to head home. So let me do what I can and not stress it. You see, I just touch it in a couple of different spots to spread the polish out. And then we start massaging it in with the buffer. And again, I'm on low speed here. I mean, this thing can go much faster, but that's when you have the potential to just burn right through and mess everything up. So what I've learned is go slow with this thing, okay? Yep, shining right on up. And I think that's a good stopping point. But like I said before, it builds up a lot of heat, a lot of friction going on there, and you don't want to damage the paint. This thing was painted here in the shop. It wasn't baked in the booth. So you run the risk of things still being a little bit malleable, and when you build up a lot of heat, you might want to start shifting and create some waves or some ripples in your paint. That would be a tragedy, so we don't want that. But it's time to wipe. Again, try to use a fresh microfiber. All I got is old dirty stuff because, you know, we're doing things on a budget here. With that said, feel free to donate to the channel. We can buy some more stuff. Maybe one day I'll have sponsors. You know? And I don't mean like people. I mean like, you know, major corporations or something, you know? Oh yeah. Oh damn, that looks really good, man. That looks good. If you didn't see from the beginning, you might have to watch the replay on this one so you can see the transformation on what that panel started off looking like versus what it looks like now, you know. Not to mention the whole damn car, you know. There's a whole playlist on the 63 Impala build project, so if you haven't seen it already, you can check it out. You can see some of the work we've done here. Less of a risk with a DA. Yeah, probably so, but I'm still a novice, man. I got a DA. I do have a smaller DA, 5-inch DA with interface pad, etc. I've just been using it for dry sanding and not buffing because I don't really have the smaller pads for it. But you could be right because you can vary the speed on that DA a little bit finer than I can with the buffer. But, you know, so far so good. Let's not put any bad juju in the air. You know, we haven't had any issues. So honestly, let me bring you guys in a little closer so maybe you can get a better look at it. But as you can see, it's shined up real nice. You can see the reflection of the lights pretty good. It could probably use another pass or two, but I'm gonna call that good for now and move on. Well, no, I still see kind of a dry spot there. Let me polish on that a little bit more, but I'm ready to start getting on this roof and trying to fix this dry spray area, etc., and the whole back piece here where I screwed it up and tried to add a little extra clear when I shouldn't have. So that's the brakes, man. That thing was looking real slick, but I was trying to, you know, be Mr. Super Painter, and I know I'm just learning how to paint. And I hit it with a little bit too much clear and dry spray, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, let me get a little more compound. Again, if you're just joining, this is what I'm using, CSI. It's good stuff, man. I endorse it. I endorse it. It's worth every penny because I'm not here. As you see, I'm not breaking a sweat or anything. Where was that spot at? Right here. Focus on this spot a little bit. But yeah, for sure, man, I appreciate your comment. What's your name? Yeah, Bad Hombre. Yeah, I appreciate your comment, man, because I have had some mishaps with the DA. If you're new to the channel, you can look at some of the previous content. I said DA. I mean mishaps with the buffer, with the electric buffer, man. This thing, man, I had it turned way up and got into some bad situations. So I respect what you're saying. Yeah, praise the Lord, man. Praise the Lord. We're God-fearing people. Yeah. Actually, brother, it's really my second time. I buffed one car before, maybe like 3 years ago, and it came out pretty good. It wasn't perfect, you know, but it came out pretty good. I used CSI polish back then too, but you know, it's like when it's something you don't do every day. Now when I do it 3 years later, it's like starting over from scratch. Like, damn, okay, like, what pads do I need? You know, I had to buy a whole new buffer. My other buffer broke down, whatever. And honestly, I still want to get some a couple smaller buffers because there's some angles on this car where it could be very dangerous to try to buff with this. And some people say you can buff by hand too, but I don't know. So we'll see. I'm probably gonna get a couple more tools down the road to completely finish the polish job on the car. Anyway, let me jump back on this. Yeah, I think that did the trick. Well, let me wipe it and take a better look. Seems like it's a little bit shinier. But let's see. Man, I gotta clean off this cart. I got so much junk on it. Seems like the DA could just fall off. You know what? Let me stick it here. My luck hasn't been that good and I don't need to drop and break that. I don't know. Might have to hit it again. See, this is where it can be a struggle on knowing when to just stop for a minute and move on to another area. Because I don't like to leave things unfinished. It's good, but to be honest, in this crevice here, it needs a little more polishing. But I got to be really careful there because it's a body line there, you know. It's a fine edge right there, and if I catch that with the wool pad, I could gouge the paint. So I don't want to do that, you know. Okay, let's see what we got here. Praise the Lord. Okay, you live in Jerusalem. Okay, that's great. You polish your car with a DA. Okay, and 3M pads. Okay. When you say a DA, do you use like a electric or you know, an electric DA? I've seen some different electric DAs where they have a smaller head, and I also know they have you know, DA, air-powered DAs like this. So what flavor are you using? And don't be shy to mention the brand name either, because I'm shopping around for tools. 3M pads, I already know that's the expensive stuff. Brother, yeah, good motivation. Hey, man, yeah, the sky's the limit, bro. And you only live once, man, so live your dreams. You know, if you want to turn it into a lowrider, you know where to pull up. You know, this is kind of what we do up here. And a Ninja, my friend, thanks for watching. I appreciate the support. I need all that I can get. Seems to be a slow day on my stream today. But I'm going to keep going. I still got more work to do in a little more time. And one of the other recommendations I have when you're doing this kind of work, make sure you have good lighting. You know, I'm kind of in one of the darker areas of the shop. I need to actually run a couple more lights a little bit further down here, but primarily most of my work is at the other end of the shop. So that's where I had all my lights. And it's a little bit dark here, so the lighting can be a challenge. But that's why I'm stopping often. I'm wiping it. I'm taking a closer look. And let me just go ahead and take you guys back in close and show it to you again. So you see, it's looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. Nice luster and reflection. And honestly, this is like, this is the part where I start feeling proud of myself, right? Because I painted the car, I'm buffing it out, you know, this is all my work. So it's the rewarding moment. I mean, the real reward would be when I'm driving in the streets with it and it's out in the sunshine looking good. But this is when you can start to really feel things coming together after having working on this car for weeks in a row straight trying to get to this point. This is when it really starts to feel like, damn, I did that, you know? But I felt like that before and then I messed up. So now I'm on the correction round of it and trying to retain that feeling. It'll happen, you know, you just got to believe in yourself and keep going, you know? As long as you have a little mechanical aptitude, a couple dollars for tools, and the heart to try, I mean, the sky is the limit, man. You'd be surprised what potential you have, you know? You can do a lot of great things out here. And that goes for all things in life. It doesn't have to be car related, maybe you're into music or God knows what it is. Anything in life. I mean, like I said, the sky is the limit. You create your own ceilings and box yourself in, you know, so step outside the box. It can be a scary thing and you might lose some money along the way, but you'll learn. And that's the real reward, you know. You'll learn and do better, or maybe you can teach your kids or a niece, a nephew, or help motivate somebody else. Jim, slow. What do you mean slow? I'm here. What's up, Jim? I don't know what you're talking about, but thanks for being here. For the guys who are just, and the young ladies who are just jumping on the stream, remember to hit the like button. I'd appreciate it. That'd help me out a little bit. But okay, so having had this this quarter now looking good, it's not perfect, but I'm definitely happy with it. Instead of carrying on into the door, because the door is actually looking pretty decent right now and it just needs some light work, what I'm gonna do is jump on the roof now, at least this one little section that's facing us. I want to do some stuff on the top of the roof, but I don't want to be, you guys won't really get a good view of that without me moving the camera. So I'm gonna jump on the roof and do that, but let me check these comments real quick. Yeah, 63 is showing us. I'm glad you're letting us see this much of the project. Yeah, for real. And I had to step out of my box to do that too, right? Because it's like, I mean, I'm a new YouTuber. I'm not making any crazy money like that. I'm really making like cents, pennies, showing all this stuff. And you're allowing people into your personal life and your personal journey. So, you know, not everybody really wants to go live and expose themselves like that. But I've just taken it from the perspective that some people can learn from me. So, I'm just putting myself out there, so to speak. So, yeah, man. So, welcome for the journey. Everybody's welcome, except for the trolls. The trolls ain't welcome, and you see what'll happen to you. You'll get timed out with the quickness. But don't be afraid to hide the user from the channel too if it was really something ridiculous. Hide is like block. Timeout means they can come back. But and if they're not saying anything too crazy, leave them in there, man. It's good for business. The more people in the chat, the better. If they're talking crazy or reckless, chop off their head. But okay, so let me get the block and start wet sanding again. And let me see. I think I'm gonna grab a fresh piece of sandpaper. Yeah, so I grab a fresh piece. I had some soaking in water already. I could reuse the piece that I already used. It's still good, but I don't know. Something about having fresh sandpaper, it just cuts a little bit better. So, all right, I got to be careful here because I don't remember how many layers of clear I have on here. So this could go bad. If it does, you guys will be here for it, and we'll just have to fix it. But let's cross our fingers and toes and pray that it goes well. Thanks, Jim. I appreciate that, man. All words of motivation and compliments are accepted. Even constructive criticism, so don't feel shy. If I could be doing something better, let me know. One thing I know I want to do is I need to get a Bluetooth microphone. I noticed in some of my videos the audio is kind of low, and it's because I'm covering up the speaker, the microphone while I'm talking or something. Another thing too is like when you saw how that had that rough looking surface, you can feel that with the sandpaper. And you can start to feel when it smooths out a bit. So that's when you want to slow down and wipe it and take a look at it. Just so you don't over sand it. Just a tip. Actually, I'm going to take this flannel off because it keeps like slapping into the car. And I don't want to take any chance of like scratching up anything. Let me tell you, while I got you here, I'll tell you guys a sad story. The other day I was working on the car, right? I was doing some wet sanding, and I don't remember for what. I was working on the trunk. The trunk was giving me the blues. I had to like redo a bunch of stuff on the trunk. I was working on the trunk, and for whatever reason, I put this water bottle on the trunk. And just kept working, kept doing my thing, and maybe 30 minutes later, whatever, I picked up the bottle. Man, it left a ring on the trunk. The paint was still a little bit wet, messed me up, man. I had to sand it all out and fix it and all of that. So be careful. Little mistakes like that can bite you when you're painting. You get careless for just 1 minute, and now now you got bitten by it. So just be careful. It was a teachable moment, so I had to tell you guys. I know I barely sanded on it, but I want to wipe it off just to look, just to make sure I'm not creating any problems. But honestly, it doesn't need a whole lot of sanding, and I don't want to over sand it. Actually, like when I, just thinking back to when I was applying the clear in this area, I intentionally went light because if you, with it being on an angle like that, if you put too much clear, it's gonna create a run. And that's not good. That is not good. So I'm being careful. I'm gonna wipe it again. All I really want to do is knock that texture down. Get it, smooth and that matte finish, and then I can buff it to a nice shine. I need to do that on this piece right here too, the top part of the quarter, but I'm a little bit afraid to touch that right now without having a smaller buffer. So I don't know if the dude, who was that telling me about the DA? Yeah, King of the West Midlands, man. Don't forget to respond and tell me about your DA. If you're still on the stream, I'm still interested in what kind of DA you're using to buff. No, I still need to sand that more. Still need to sand that a bit more. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but it's like the wind is whipping around out there, and there's some stuff on the roof blowing around. Okay, that's a little nerve-wracking there. Stop right there. Okay, we'll let that dry a little bit, and then I'll show you guys what it looks like. Thanks, Heart Gamma. Thank you very much. If you didn't already, Heart Gamma, hit the like button. Yeah, I'm gonna stop begging people to hit the like button. Yeah, you hit the like button if you like it. Yeah, it is what it is. I think people already know that. Okay, let's take a look together. I mean, I guess it's still drying a bit, but let's see. I only did a small section here. I didn't do the whole thing. And it's kind of flat. We'll let it dry some more, because you can't really tell until it really dries, But I already could tell that getting close to cutting through the clear. So I don't want to sand that area too much more. Even though I'm using a fairly, mild sandpaper. Like I said, this area never got a whole lot of clear coverage. So you got to be careful. And I'm not trying to re-clear the whole thing. As if I end up having an issue, then I'm going to have to sand the entire roof. It's just not the kind of thing where you can just do that corner and it's going to look good. You got to do the whole roof. And I kind of learned that. It's kind of like that with every panel on the car. At least with my skill level, I don't know how to blend panels and paint and all of that kind of stuff. What we got here, Jim is yeah. Thank you, Jim. Appreciate you. Yeah. I speak on it, but I don't, I feel like I say it too much, because there's a couple other buttons there too that help the channel as well, but I'm trying not to talk about all that stuff. You could become a member of the channel, you could hit a super chat, you could hit a super sticker, you could buy some merchandise. There's all kinds of ways you can help the channel. But you're right, the like button is free, and that's the least You know, it takes nothing, zero effort to really hit the like button. So, but I guess the people who like the content, they'll automatically do that. Once in a while, you might forget, and somebody reminded you helps. But you know, I don't want to feel like I'm begging for a like. Okay, let's see. It's not bad for that little section. Now it's mostly dry. I'm gonna show you guys again because it's a little spot where it's like some trash in it too, where I could do some more sanding, but I'm a little bit nervous to do it. Okay, so you guys can see it's mostly dry now, and it's kind of got that matte finish. Still has some spots that look a little shiny. That's where it could really use some more sanding. And there's a spot right there where there was a run, but man, that's like a real, you know, I don't know. I might leave that for right now. I'll try to do that by hand a little bit later, but I'm not gonna try to block that out right now. That could cause me a problem. But for the most part, this area is knocked down good enough now. But here's the little spots I was telling you about that could use a little bit more sanding, you know, because that's in the clear. I can feel that with my finger. And actually right in here, I could use a little bit too, but I want to be careful because like I said, the clear is really thin here. So it would take nothing to break through that, but I'm gonna hit it a little bit. I'm gonna go over this a little bit more, try to knock this out, and then we'll try to just polish this one section because you guys already saw this section when it was ugly, and I'm just trying to show you how, you know, how you can easily correct that. But again, it's a little bit touchy because there's this body line right here and it kind of blends in the hair. So if you catch that with the buffer at the wrong speed, you could dig right into, you know, right into the paint and have a gouge right there in no time. Same with these areas, it's radius, there's curvature to it, so you got to be very careful. Anyway, enough cautions. I'm talking like I'm a pro, but I'm just teaching you guys from the experiences I've had so far. You know, I made a few mistakes along the way. All right, let's hit it. Let's hit it. I need to grab the flashlight. Like I said, it's kind of a dark spot. I could open up this bay door, but the hood is not the best, so I don't need everybody on my business on what's inside here. So, you know, we'll opt to keep it closed and use the flashlight so I can see a little better what I'm doing. It's a little dry. The water helps to reduce the friction and prevent damage. So try to keep the area you're sanding wet. All right, I'm gonna wipe it again, take a look. Slow and steady wins the race. Yeah, I didn't completely get that one little spot out, but I knocked it down most of the way. It's one of those imperfections you'll never notice when the car wants to shine up. So I'm gonna stop right there. I'm gonna let that dry for a little bit, and then we'll hit it with the CSI polishing cream and the buffer and see what happens. we should get similar results that we had here on the quarter. And then you'll be able to see how you can recover from a mistake without too much effort. Just a little bit of, you know, a little bit of finesse, and you can get it back right. Where's my water bottle? Take a little sip. Man, I don't have my Coronas today. We'll save that for tomorrow. We'll make up for it tomorrow. Oh man, I'm trying to think too. I don't even think I have any at the house either. I might need to stop at the store on the way home. It's Friday, you know. Yeah, that's pretty dry. I'm gonna try and do a one pass now with the polishing compound. I think I'm gonna just, yeah, let me just go ahead and do it. Man, I really gotta clean this cart off, man. I can't even put my water down properly. I've been doing so much work. I got so much tools and miscellaneous stuff on the cart right now. All right, like I said, we don't want to use too much polish. I still got a whole car to do, and especially that roof is probably going to take quite a bit, but see, just a little bit. And that's probably more than I need to start with because it's a small area we're working in. Yeah, this is kind of a big pad for this area, so I'm gonna just do my best. I really need a smaller buffer or DA for this section. Kind of awkward spot to work in. And the pad is kind of flaking apart a little bit. We'll get it. Just take your time, don't rush it. Stop and wipe it. Try to get some of this crap off the rest of the car. All right, so that's just the first little application, but I don't know if you guys can notice from that distance, but it's already starting to bring back some of the shine. As you saw, like on the quarter area, we got to hit it at least 3 times, but you can see it's starting to gloss back up a little bit, and that texture that was there before is gone now, you know. So overall we're achieving the objective that we want with a little effort, not too much, you know. Just you saw I just had to wet sand on it, didn't take a whole lot of effort, and then you just let the compound and the buffer do the work. You know, it's really just that simple. So I'm gonna repeat that process now a couple more times, and we'll see if we can't get it to shine up like this panel down here. Yeah. So slowly but surely it'll get there. And man, I mean, once the whole car is done, it's gonna be like, you know, it's really gonna look good. That's what I'm really looking forward to, is getting the whole thing buffed out nicely. Let me angle you guys a little bit more this way now. Yeah, but as you can see, it's kind of an awkward angle to work with such a big pad, you know. And the pad is kind of dirty too. Wiped it off a little bit there. We'll buff on it some more. Just a little bit more polish. Stop and wipe it. I got one spot where I'm having some compound buildup, and what I found in the past is when that happens, you have to stop and wipe it. Otherwise, it can create more scratches and problems. Yep. Let me get the light. But shining up pretty good. Yeah, it still needs a bit more, and then we could use a little more sanding right here. I can still see some of the texture. Yeah, and then that one spot in the corner is just hard to get to. I need a much smaller buffing pad, or I'm gonna have to try to buff that part by hand because I don't want to jack it up. But as you can see, it's shining up. So I'm running out of time, guys. It's almost 4 p.m. here, and I got a couple more things I need to do. So probably gonna wrap up the stream at this point, but I want to thank everybody who jumped on today and participated. And thank you for the compliment. I'm working on it. You know, it's eventually going to come together and be real nice when all is said and done. And there may be more issues along the way, but whatever it takes, we're gonna get it done, you know. But yeah, appreciate everybody. Just stay tuned. There'll be more content to come, and depending on how things go, I may or may not do another live stream tomorrow. I'll flip it around and show you guys the car a little bit before we take. So there it is. And yeah, it's come a long way. Still got quite a ways to go, but man, it's nice to see it. It's nice bright red compared to the almost burgundy-ish color it was before. And nice to see it shining. So just imagine once the whole car has been wet sanded and buffed out what it's gonna look like. So that's that. We got to get on the Fleetwood coupe. I have an engine I need to install in this bad boy. But man, I've been held up a little bit longer than expected on the 63. But pretty soon, with the 63 build topic, that's one clarification I should make right now. We're gonna take a pause on it soon because we just wanted to get the paint done before wintertime came. But I'm not gonna like completely finish the car right now and just throw a cover on it. I'm gonna probably do some more wet sanding on it and some minor light assembly. But then we're gonna just stop working on that and switch over to the coupe because I need to put the engine in it. And before putting the engine in, I want to clean up the engine bay, and maybe we'll paint the engine bay and, you know, just make that a lot nicer and get this boy together. And I still need to do a disc brake conversion on the 67 SS Rag here. So got all the parts, just need to start doing the work. And man, it's filthy right now. It's a shame to see it looking like that. But yeah, there's plenty of projects, so just stay tuned. We'll be jumping back and forth between a couple projects, but rest assured we'll have a playlist for each one. So if you miss an episode, you can always go back and catch up. And eventually we're gonna get back on this 63 as well. But with all the projects I just mentioned, that's gonna take us God knows how long. So just stay tuned. All I'm trying to tell you is you shouldn't be bored. There'll be stuff that'll be going on the channel. So if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, check the bell notifications, make sure you select all so you don't miss any of the content. And most of all, man, just enjoy the ride, you know. If you're a car guy, this is the place you want to be. And that's it. Let me see, maybe I'll pop outside real quick. We got to do some work on this Cadillac. This one doesn't really need anything that we're going to do. It needs a vinyl top, but I'm not going to be doing that work. Matter of fact, this car has been for sale. That's a reminder. I'm going to take the ad down today. I think I'm going to just keep it. And, you know, the rest of these cars, I don't know what we're going to do with them, but we got them. That's the hard part, is finding them and getting them. We got them. We own them. So the sky's the limit. But with all of that said, guys, I'm your host, Shawnee C. at Motor City Customs. And that's it for today. We're out of here. Appreciate you being a part of the live stream. Hope everybody has a great weekend. Be safe out there. And yeah, just show love, man. That's all you got to do. That's also free. Show love and be a good person and you'll be good. Yeah, Fleetwood Coupes is where it's at, man. They're hard to find, though. You mostly find Coupe de Villes. The Fleetwood Coupes, very hard to find and very expensive when you do find them, unless you get lucky. But anyway, I got to go, guys. Let me bail and get some work in. Take care, Jim. Have a good one, man. I'll be looking out for your latest content, man. I love your content. All right, people. Holla at you. A Ninja, thank you for being here. Davey, thanks for being here. I can't call everybody's name, but everybody who jumped on, thanks. And we'll see you again in the near future. Peace.